penny for your thoughts.
You're incorrigible, aren't you? You little zipper neck. All right. 7 has always been my lucky number. Come over here, you hot monster. What is it?
What is it?
What's the matter?
What's the matter?
Is it that music?
It is the music.
It's probably just from some nearby cottage. Nothing to worry about. Where are you going? Oh, you men are
They're all alike.
7 or 8 quick ones and you're off with the boys to boast and brag. You better keep your mouth shut. Oh, I think I love him.
Oh! Oh! How's everyone tonight? Oh! Oh, the boasted brag. How's everyone going? Okay, my name's Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos Facechook Live here in the drum cave. The echo, 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 echo. Oh! Air. Oh. Air. Oh. Now, I'm going to talk about layering tonight. Hey! Hey! Interesting introduction. Okay, so here we are in Lickdown and all that. And what's going on with this is I hope you've got, your favourite glass of cordial at hand and all that. And I hope everyone's doing okay. I got my paraphernalia everywhere, and here we go. Now, I've got a couple of questions from, some beautiful questions from some beautiful people is my sort of moniker, I suppose, is what I sort of say. And what it is I'll get into it presently, okay, tonight for Facechook Live. And what happens is that when I'm playing, I'm talking about layering. Now, I'm going to talk about a rock beat, right? Nice and plain. Fine, okay. What can we do? Probably the first thing that we sort of do is we start to talk about our kit, our equipment, right? So what happens is if you get a basic rock beat, open hi-hat, and continuity I love. When it gets exciting, the hi-hat is your friend. Use it all the time. And then, of course, we've got the ride. And there's that bell. China. Now, all of that is, I'm really talking about a fairly basic kind of a deal here tonight, just to get started, but it's going to ratchet itself up a little bit here. In the sense that when you're actually looking for different things out of your drum kit, and when you're actually trying to play to, a track or whatever it might be, I've got little Marley here on the end. Hello, pal, how are you? Are you staying in here? Are you staying here? Oh, okay, sweetheart. Ali Lee's pooch. Ali Lee, I hope you're doing okay. There you go. And Pedge, there you are. Okay, so what's going on? You're having a little sleep over there. I'm getting bombed by the pooch that I'm minding. So anyway, what's going on is you might start off. Bradley Rock. Maybe you're watching, Brad. Anyway, there you go. I was doing that. Continuity, I tell you. But what goes on with that is that when you're dealing with this kind of business, you're starting to deal with colour. And the first kind of colour that you have is the cymbals, really. You've got a closed hi-hat. You can get a grungy sound by, shouldering the hi-hat. Try to avoid that. It's really more the flat. You can get a better sound, really, like I tell all my kids, like all my students, when you're playing, just use the tip of the stick, that kind of thing. But when you want to actually get a bit of grunt behind it, just use the shoulder of the stick like that. You see? And there it is there. So then you're away. It's good for non-drummers to know all the different sounds, and that's sort of what I'm talking about to a certain degree. Because I've had a few little messages over the last couple of weeks, and I've always sort of known, like I don't play drums at all, but I like watching the show. Thank you so much for getting that. So what I want to do is I can do the 7 against 25 polyrhythm if you whatever later on, but let's get a few basics going with just colour and contrast. So what we've got here is we've got our closed, open, ride, bell, and China. And so on it goes. And as you go through the song, what can start to happen is you can work it like a guitarist would work their chords. You could get an open chord to begin with, and then as you go into the song, you might change your open C to a bar chord C, or whatever it might be. So that's what goes on with that. So as we get into layers, that's what happens there. Then what can start to happen? Put in the good old rim shot. So on it goes, you see, start to build it up. Now, one of the things that I do here is just about every time people ask me questions and all that sort of stuff, there's never a couple of weeks that go by that Mr. John Henry Bonham doesn't get pulled up, and he just never goes away, the great man, anyway, R.I.P. But one of his things, that's why I've got to get one of them, because he's got it, so I've got to have it too, and all that sort of stuff. So you start to do that. Now, I've talked about the hi-hat quite a lot, but what goes on is you can start to free yourself up. And then what goes on with this, you can start to get into the world of some of the things, like I first heard that with Rob Hurst, really, getting that. I go, what's he doing on that tune, 1098? All that sort of stuff back in the early 80s, Midnight Oil, the Oils, mate, and all that. But also even before then, really, or at the same time in the early 80s, Budgie from Susie and the Banshees, right? So there'd be like... Oh, I mentioned them a couple of weeks ago, the Creatures, their little offshoot thing. Oh. Yeah. Kiss the girl, kiss the girl. Something like that. Anyway, there you go. I'm rambling on. What I do, for those who may have not seen Facechook live before, especially Facechook Lickdown live and all that sort of stuff, when we're all, getting comfy, getting classy, all that sort of business, is that I try and say as many names as I can inside. Write them down, go to the YouTubes, whatever it is, and look them up, that kind of thing. If you like that sound, Budgie, Susie and the Banshees, all that sort of stuff. And then, you know, when we're talking about influences and things, we all know Led Zepp, we know John Bonham, and there's that. Once I've got that going and I can pedal that, it frees up my right hand, right? Now, paradiddle, last week's show. Yeah. Paradiddle diddle, right, left, left. Now what I was trying to do there was keep the rim shot right on and all that. Now, layers. What starts to happen is you can start to build things up. Now, this is where I'm going to go. You've got your basic rock beat, so I'll kick back to that. Yeah. Oh, I'm feeling like Charlie. I've got a Charlie Watts moment coming on. That. Jumping Jack Flash, I do believe that beat is. Anyway, there you go. I digress. Okay. And then what happens is if I'm going to take that, right, I'm just going to go layers. First floor, third floor, Manchester. And what happens here is you've got a basic beat. Turn it into semi-quavers. And 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in, out, in, out, in and out, and in and out, and in and out. I got a Benny Hill moment coming. Sorry. Terrible. Anyway, so what happens there is you've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. You've got your typical 16th note rock beat. Semi-quavers, 1 and a 2 and a 3. They are a quarter of a beat. Now what happens if we split it up? Now, Steve Gadd, okay, go look him up. And with my students over the last couple of weeks, I've been referencing the Chick Corea album. Last week I did The Leprechaun and all that. I'm not going to do the joke again, but anyway. Wayne's World, The Leprechaun and all that. But this week I'm going to reference Chick Corea's Friends album. The one with one of the worst covers in the world, next to Sabbath's Born Again. Although I've come to love that album cover. Stonehenge! Ooh, the Druids. But what it is, sorry, referencing other jokes from another epoch. Anyway, so what happens is that, I've got to try not to throw myself tonight, sorry about that. But what happens is that you've got Smurfs on that cover. The Smurfs. I'm going, Chicory, what are you doing? Jazz album. Oh, well, jazz. It's not dead, it just smells funny. But if you, that's Frank Zappa, 1975. Anyway, there you go. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2. Now that's all well and good. Steve Gadd was huge with the Friends album by splitting the ride. So he would take that and put that over there, and then he would do the same thing. Right? Now, I'll do a little reference here because I'm going to come back to it. Adam Sanfilippo, how are you, mate? You asked me about skins and what different kinds of skins happen. Did you notice that I was getting the ping of destiny there? Okay, that goes straight into the Saint Anger album, I reckon. Anyway, so what goes on with that is I've got this gorgeous DW stainless steel snare, 6.5 by 14. But when I want to, Now, that's because I've got, shameless plugging, but I've got an Evans UV1, which is a 1-ply head on this. Now, if I wanted to take what I'm doing and maybe it's a bit too pingy, you know, sort of thing. It's very 2002 sound, isn't it, fellas? There you go. But if I just wanted to just dampen it down, you know, you can just really just do that, you know, just like a bit of moon gel or just, you know, the old days, just your wallet. E-ring, whatever it is. And the simple thing, Adam, is that with this kit, I've got UV1s on everything here, and they're beautiful skins. It's sort of new technology stuff. I remember getting my first one. It just had prototype. UV1 got sent to me, and it's brilliant, and all that. Either that or G1s for me. And what it is you can dampen down a ringy skin. You can work out what you want from the skin, and then do it accordingly. However, when I use Delilah for the Alex Theatre and all that, and then all the gigs that go with my gigging kit, the white one, I was using G2s, 2-plies, and on the snare drum I was using a Genera, okay, which has the little ring underneath and all this sort of business. And that gave me that sound because it was going to get flogged, and it did get flogged. But this is a little bit... very, you know, I can let it just sing really and all that. So it's versatile. When you're dealing with things like jazz and stuff like that, what happens is you want a fairly, you know, sort of out there kind of kit, beautiful tones and all that. But sometimes when you're dealing with flog and all that sort of stuff, you want something a bit more denser. 2-plies are great for that, okay? Horses for courses and all that. But one rule that I stick by is that you can take a ringy skin and deaden it down, but you can't take a dry skin and make it live, okay? Unless you fix it in the mix and all that sort of stuff or whatever. But generally speaking, you can go one way, but you can't go the other and all that. And that's why I was doing the pingy. Ooh, back into it. Now, do you notice what I'm doing here? I've gone from back on track with the 16th notes. 1 ear and a 2 ear and a 3 ear and a 4 ear and a 1 ear and a root shot, 1 ear and up. Last. I love that album. I really like it. Hate mail, here I come. And then what happens? There it is there. Now, when you take your right hand and put it on the ride, I'll bring it back. I won't act a fool just for the next 5 seconds. Oh, sorry. I'm starting to combine what I was doing before. If I keep that going, if I'm pedaling the hi-hat, therefore my left hand on a single stroke roll will create those little open things. If I shoulder, that's that kind of feel there, you see. And that really comes out of the Steve Gadd kind of thing with the split riding, you see. And there's that. So that's called split rides. When you're actually seeing it on your staves, what often happens is that you have your ride cymbal up where, say, high G would be in a treble clef, and then your hi-hat would be the X on high E, you see. So you'd have high, low. And that is often used, I use it quite a lot in my drum set manuals, when you're wanting mixed sticking. Like the other week I was doing quintuplets. So on. we'll mention a track off the Frank Zappa album Man from Utopia album 1983. And it's a song the old band used to do called We Are Not Alone. And We Are Not Alone was the split writing. However, Chad Wackerman, who I mentioned, I've done this before, but I'm just taking it a step further tonight. Continuity once again, is the fact that instead of on the ride cymbal, Chad Wackerman would put the right hand on the floor tom. So you had da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum, oh, da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum. Now, what I'm doing is I'm pedaling the hi-hat and shouldering when I need the accent. So yeah. Alley-oop. Yeah. Now, dear Neil Peart, on their last album, Clockwork Angels, you'd hear sort of a straight rock beat. Oh, hey, layers as it builds up, then. Now there's tones there. Now, one of the things that I do with this kit here is that I have a couple of little lines that I do. Okay, so what happens is there's the hi-hat on the right side and all that, and I've got that as, I'm a bit caught up here. What's going on here? Hey, oh, that's right. Hey, how you going over there, Shaggy? You all right, mate? Doing all right? I'll give you a little schmacko later. There you go. And so what happens is when you get, I've got the pooch over on the right, on your right. Anyway, so what happens is I've got the hi-hat here. Now, that little chestnut there, did you notice that I was doing, I was using the tones of the snare drum? Now that's back at you, Adam, you see, because of using different tones and being able to get a skin that's versatile and you work with the kit. You know, you go with what you got, you know. So it's a normal tap, and then I do a little high-pitched ping for a rim shot. Now, for those of you who don't know, with a rim shot, you're hitting the rim and the skin at the same time. And rim shots are your loudest note on the drum set. But the thing about it is, depending on what you're doing, you have different kinds of rim shots depending on where you play it on your stick. You see, as you can see, I'll put it up there. Do you see that? Oh, look at those rim shots and all that sort of stuff. That's there. But when you're doing, say, won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? And that was for you, dear Johnny Fordham, okay? If you're watching, hey? Take care, mate, and all that. Thank you for supporting the show for so long, too. Thank you very much. We first met in 2005. He's the doyen of the Melbourne jazz scene, all that sort of stuff. And sending all my love, mate. There you go. So that's just a little bit off the cuff. But as soon as I go into Bill Bay, I'm just thinking of you, mate. All that kind of... What was I doing before? That's right. There's the tone. Go down. There it is there, see? So what happens is I'm doing a silly thing here. I've got chains. I got the chains to give me a little bit of a kind of a, what would you call that kind of thing? You know, like the rivets, man. Very dead, but. So I'm using that raw bell ride. That's my gigging ride symbol there. But what happens is with that, when I put the chains on it, very different kind of trashy sound. And the chains go down to my little sand crash down here. And that's got 3 rivets in it. And with the stick, no definition at all. It's got the most beautiful wash. Okay, so what happens is that when you're thinking John Henry Bonham, that's why he often did that, you know. Wash. Hey. And that's what goes on there, so you get that going. That's Wyatt. That's Adam. There you go. That's about skins. That's a little bit about layering. You're seeing the layers happening there. And one of the things that I also got asked quickly about tonight, before, it's something I've done before. Do you really want me to start saying her beautiful name again? Gina Lola Brigida, which means 7, and all that, when we're talking about mnemonics and all this sort of business. But Andy, how are you, mate? You wanted me to do 7 over 7, a little bit like Frank Zappa's 555 and all of that sort of stuff. I mentioned Frank Zappa. I wasn't going to, but I seem to have fallen into that little bit of a rabbit hole there, apart from We Are Not Alone. But what happens is when you're dealing with time signatures, it's the one thing. I might bring this up. I wasn't going to, but it's happened a couple of times this week with some of my students about time signatures. And I've talked about time signatures quite a bit over the show. I think all the time on the show, actually. But what it is the top number's easy. It's the number of beats in the bar. So you can have 27 over 4. And that's easy. You count to 27, you know, if you know what I'm getting at. It's easy. The definition is easy. Number of beats in the bar. But alas, it's the bottom number that screws everyone up and all that, because the bottom number tells you the type of note that receives the beat. Okay, so if you've got 7/4, look at it like a kind of a fraction, 7 quarters. And a quarter note is a crotchet, so you've got 7 crotchets in the bar, just like Money by Pink Floyd, okay, that kind of thing. Boom, bang, doom, boom, boom, bum, ba, doom. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then if you go into 7/8, think of that like a loose fraction. It's not a fraction, I'm just saying 7/8. You've got 7/8 notes in the bar. So you can have Gina Lola Brigida. You see? Gina Lola Brigida, 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 Gina Lola Brigida. Oh, I've done that so much. Gina Lola Brigida. Oh my God, what a woman. And there you go. So that's what goes on with that. So what can start to happen is that you can, like with Frank Zappa's 555, what it is it's 5/8, 5/8, 5/4. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So for 5s, it's hippopotamus. I'm going over it again because I've been asked. Hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, hippopotamus, hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hippopotamus, hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hippopotamus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hippopotamus, hippopotamus, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh boy! There you go. No poetry tonight, folks, just counting. The Raven. One I haven't done. I've got to do one more of Edgar Allan Poe. It's Annabelle Lee and all that sort of stuff, but maybe later. Okay? Sorry. For those who don't know, it's in joke. Anyway, there you go. So what happens, have I hit 6:30 already? Oh, bloody hell. Anyway, I might go a little bit longer. But what goes on is that when you're dealing with sevens, you could do the same thing. You see? You could have Gina Lolla Bridge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gina Lolla Bridge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And so on it goes like that. And then there's other things where you could, do different things with your feet, like you might play 5-4 with your feet, and 5-8 with your hands, and it goes everywhere there. And all that. And what starts to go on with that starts to get into an Indian counting system and all that. And what you start to have is matra, M-A-T-R-A, if you wanted to look it up. And there's little things like a 7.5 matra and all that. And if you just count, 7.5, okay, multiply that by 2. What you have is 15, okay? And what happens with 15, just talking a bit of musical mathematics there, is that if you're dealing with 5-4, all right, there's 10 quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, but the pulse is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if you add 5-8 to it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a cut time thing. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hippopotamus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hippopotamus. Hippopotamus being 5-8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hippopotamus. 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 1. Therein lays a 7.5 matra. Go away and listen to John McLaughlin and some of the heavyweights of those. Like John McLaughlin of the Mahavishnu Orchestra got right in to all the Indian counting and all that sort of business. And he had a wonderful group called Shakti in the 70s. And I think he got them back together at some point. But that was amazing stuff, Shakti. He put out 3 albums. And I bought all 3 straight up. And it was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hippopotamus, 1. Now I go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What should I do? 2 feel? And then I'll talk about Stuart Copeland, because he said he never worried about the odd time signatures, because when you're dealing with odd times, if you just play a normal beat, what would happen is that it'd come back every second bar. I always remember that interview. I've mentioned it before. So if I'm just going to play 4/4, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. There you go, you see. And then what happens is you start overlaying things, you see. So there's all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to get funky. mongrel. You owe me about 3 beers, mate, for that. Editing cordial, mate. Editing cordial. All right, so I better wrap the show up. I hope you got something out of this. This is layers. I was going to talk about layers, that kind of thing. What I've done in the past is sort of have a bit of a subject. I ask questions, but I got asked 2 tonight. I didn't really put it out there, but that's sort of been the show the way that it started. But with the Alex Theatre and all that sort of stuff, I would just pick a topic and go and all that. So I found myself playing in 15, sort of thing. But what happens is that people can dance to that, that kind of thing. Like even last night, I was talking about a Greek rhythm. I hope I'm saying it the right way. Certos rhythm. And it's like a calypso, right? But then what happens is, let's see if you put it in like, okay. Now, if you just want me to do that, that's right, left, both. Right, left, both. Right, left, both. Layering, this is what the subject of tonight's about. I don't know what that was anyway. There you go. That's a bit messy, but there it is. Now I'm going to bid you farewell because I'm going to go off and edit this stuff and whack it up probably later tonight or probably more likely tomorrow and all that. In the meantime, go away, have a few sherbets and stay comfy and stay classy and all that sort of business. And sort of thing. Bit of a cold weekend this weekend, isn't it? Sort of thing there. From the Arctic is coming, the wind coming through. I still had to take Pooch for a walk though, didn't I? Hey, over there, did you fall asleep halfway through that? Jeez, I was trying my hardest. He's a hard crowd. Tough crowd over there. Hey. Oh. Things you do. Anyways, I'm going to love and leave you. And what happens is, dear me. Here it is. So what goes on is, this is Melbourne Musos Facechook Live, every Friday at 6 o'clock for a year and a bit now. And then Melbourne Musos on our dear community TV station, Channel 31, every Wednesday at 10 p.m. And I'm into year 25 for that. There we are. And once again, I often say it, but it's been a while now, but thank you for saving it. That's up to you guys. Anyway, I'm out of here, and I'm going to put all this up a little bit later on. I hope you get something out of it. Now, I have given you a few things to look up. First of all, have a look at Chick Corea's Friends album with the great Steve Gadd doing the split ride, all that sort of business. I meandered into layering it up, so Susie and the Banshees and Budgie. Oh, I love Budgie. And, of course, our own Oils, the early stuff of now. They've just released a new single. But after how many years, I'm not sure. But what it is Rob Hurst, Toms, everything going, bang, like that. And then I sort of fell into things like rim shots, layering up the beat, the different cymbals that you can do, splitting things up, getting a little bit melodic and tonal. Therefore, Susie and the Banshees, Budgie, their offshoot, The Creatures, write that down. And then I finished off with an Indian counting system where John McLaughlin of Mahavishnu Orchestra fame, and Miles Davis, got into it with his group Shakti. But they were doing heaps of odd times with Billy Cobham through Mahavishnu Orchestra days and all that sort of stuff. And Narada Michael Walden, who I brought up the other week. But what I'm going on about is the counting system. So, and that's because of you, Andy. There you go. With Adam, the different kinds of skins and tones you can get. The main thing I concentrated on was you can deaden down a live drum skin, like a ringy skin, but you can't go the other way. Okay, so if you're going to go from a wedding reception to a heavy metal thing or whatever it might be, chances are I'd recommend more a one ply, and then you can change it up really quickly. You know, just moonshot, bang, you're fixed, and away you go. Or an E-ring and all that. I was doing that with the Alex Sitter all the time. I had my rings and I just put it on. I did a whole thing on that. So that's about a month ago. So I'm tending to repeat myself, but you asked for it. So there you go. I'm off. I'm out of here. Hey, have a great weekend. Stay warm. Stay classy. Melbourne. Okay, Lickdown, week number whatever it is. God help us. It's becoming blurry. Oh. Anyway. Yeah. I'm off. Okay, so what we've got is my name is Chris Quinlan, and I shall see you next week. Take care. Hey! Oh.
You must be Igor.
No, it's pronounced
Igor.